So let's dive in now to how. How can we bring these to life? So we're starting with trust, building trust, helping people understand the value of conflict comes second, then looking at commitment and helping ensure everybody is following through on the commitments they're making to the team. The fourth piece is holding people accountable and not avoiding accountability. And the fifth is ensuring our team is more committed to the success of the team as opposed to the individual success. Because we want to build championship teams. We don't want to build teams where everybody's trying to be the MVP, right? We want teams where everybody is bought in and committed, and their goal is to win a championship. Now, through this process, we might have an MVP on our team, somebody that does rise above and really sets themselves apart. But that needs to be a result of winning a championship and creating a culture where championships are part of what you do, not at the expense of the team's success. And so there's an important distinction there. But let's start out with trust. How do we create trust on our team? Now, trust is a combination of character and competence. It starts with us as a leader doing the things that we say we will do. If we want to develop trust on our team, we need everybody on our team to understand that when we say we're going to do something, we follow through and we get it done. For a lot of us, this requires processes of writing things down, having a checklist, and not assuming people will understand that we got busy. When things come up, we're effectively communicating, hey, I made this commitment to you. I had this come up. I didn't forget about it. I'm going to get this done, but I wanted to keep you in the loop. Those conversations go a long ways in ensuring your team doesn't think you either forgot about the task, you weren't capable of getting it done, or you just misled them. You were just saying something to make them happy, but you never had the intention of getting this done in the first place. That's the quickest way to break trust. Another important piece for you as a leader to understand as you're developing trust on your team is that trust will be made and broken when mistakes happen more than any other time. So if your team is being vulnerable and they're coming to you and they're sharing something personal, they're saying that they need help with something, or they're admitting they made a mistake, we cannot make them feel bad about this. We can't allow them to feel bad about this. We need to ensure that they understand mistakes are part of the process, it's part of the growth process, and be there to support them. Now, this is a lot easier said than done because mistakes are usually expensive. If it's not actual P&L impact, if it's not actually impacting your P&L, it's probably going to cost you time to fix the mistake. It might cost the relationship. But don't forget that relationship with an employee is going to be more important than any other relationship, because if you can help them understand what happened in the mistake, what happened to cause the mistake, grow from it and learn, but also strengthen that relationship, you're going to have an even more engaged employee that's going to do better work for you. And you'll probably still be able to salvage that relationship with a client or whatever the case may be, whatever the impact was of that mistake. But that relationship with the employee is going to have a return on investment of 100x over time if they're bought in. And the other piece of it, like the mistake is already done. The damage has already been done. You already have that cost. It's too late. We're past that point. But if we use that as a growth point, we can at least help somebody get better and have the future rewards, as opposed to now also damaging a relationship with an employee because we took an approach that caused there to be a mistrust or a lack of trust. So a few things we can focus on is, one, look at how we handle mistakes to develop trust, but also ensure we do what we say we will do to show our team that we have both character and competence. Now, a fear of conflict is going to damage everything. Like working with a passive team who just doesn't say what they're thinking, that is scared to bring up problems, or they feel like it's better to just suffer through the day and then go home because they don't care enough to deal with the problem. Like, this is going to kill your business. This is going to crush your team. It's a terrible thing. So you have to teach people how to have conflict in a healthy manner. And this is going to require you to play an active role. Do not assume that conflict on your team is going to resolve itself without you helping out. If it was going to resolve itself, it would have already. You have to play an active role in helping people work together when there is conflict, helping people see each other's perspective. Excuse me. And this requires that you start by not taking sides. Understand that every time there is conflict, there are two sides of the story. Your job as a leader is to assume the best intentions of both people that are in this conflict, have conversations with them to really understand what they were trying to accomplish, and then bring them together, work as a mediator if necessary. Be careful with how you have these conversations, because sometimes even just nodding your head while somebody's talking or saying, oh my gosh, I agree, I see where you're coming from, that person might leave feeling like you took their side in the conflict. Like, you have to be really clear that you understand their intentions, but that you want to take time to understand the other side as well. When conflict between two people is not resolved, it spreads throughout your organization. Both of these people pick sides, they find allies to have their back, and now what started as two people having conflict becomes this thing where there's multiple people involved that don't work together as well because they have this conflict in mind when they're working through it. And this is why some people get nervous or don't want to bring conflict up, because they want to avoid these sort of situations. Like, they just want to come to work, do their job, collect a check, and go home. You need to make sure that everybody feels encouraged to bring things up that are problems, even if it's not an easy thing to say. And you can do this by recognizing them. Even if you don't agree with them, right? Even if you don't agree with them, make sure they understand that you appreciate them taking the time to bring something up that they knew was going to ruffle some feathers, that they knew wasn't an easy thing to say. A lot of times when we're looking at hiring people, we think of culture fit, like who's going to come in and get along with everybody, but that's not going to always be the best case, right? Who's the person that's actually going to add value to this team and bring a different perspective that'll help the organization grow, that'll help the team grow and be at their best. So we need those people that are going to have these conversations straight on and not be scared to say the hard things that often a lot of people are thinking, but they just aren't as confident in bringing it up because there is this fear of conflict. When we can encourage people to bring these data points up, it helps our growth process. It just accelerates the growth process, just learning what is not being said. And then after we have we work through the fear of conflict, now we have the commitment. And the commitment and accountability really work hand in hand. Because if you're not having the accountability conversations with your team, it's going to be a lot less likely that people are going to be committed to doing the things that they say they will do. So it's your role as a leader to be resilient and ensure that when there are expectations set, the expectations are clear. We're following up to inspect what we expect. We're recognizing the things going well, and we're coaching when things are not going well. So people don't feel like they can just forget or they can make excuses. Like, we have to have conversations directly and address these things while they're small things, because if habits form and the habit becomes, I'm just going to do what I want every single day, I'll show up sometimes, it's going to be a tough place. And people that are actually performing at a high level are going to be less motivated to work there because they want to work with other top performers. They want to be part of a championship team. So it's up to you as a leader to create this culture where that is able to happen. And you can do this by ensuring everyone's committed to their word, by having those effective accountability conversations. I'm going to challenge you to stop looking at accountability as a bad word. It is not a bad word. It is making sure people are doing the things that need to be done for them to be successful, but also for the team to be successful. Kim Scott has a great book called Radical Candor on this topic, and she tells a story in a video where there's this employee that is just struggling. The manager struggled with them, but also not giving them feedback because they don't want to hurt their feelings. And the unfortunate consequence of this is that employee eventually has to be fired because they're not doing the job up to the expectation. And in the conversation where they're being let go, they're told, this is why we're letting you go, because these things are happening. And that person's response was, why didn't anybody tell me? Like, why didn't anybody let me know that these were things that were hurting the team? Like, there literally was this sort of mentality of like, this is just what I do every single day. I had no idea.
Do the bullet. Bullet. Do the boom.